we're going to go over how to properly glue a button to a slide. There are other methods, they just don't work as well. Okay, let's take a look. I have a piece of paper, white paper, on a wooden breadboard. I have a little teeny jeweler's screwdriver, a Kettlewell ERGO button, which is very beautiful, and a slide that's held by sticks of wood. And there's the nub. Aye, there's the rub. Aye, there's the nub. Okay? And then JB Weld, part A and B. 3 index cards, paper toweling, rubber gloves, enlarging glasses, and a light. Okay, let's get started. First thing I'm doing is just kind of cleaning off the nub to make sure it's clean. Okay. Now, I'm checking the fit. See how the button seats? It's not up a little bit. I've even seen manufacturers put buttons on like that, which is so wrong. It must seat on the shoulder, and you'll note that I cut the button to be the perfect size to match the shoulder right here of the slide. Why the wood? Slides are so delicate that you can put them out of shape just by finger pressure, firm finger pressure, and thumb. This way it's totally protected, and I cannot bend the slide. If the slide gets bent, it's not going to work right. Okay, so I'm going to try this camera position. If I don't like what's going on, I'll move it. Okay, now the first thing we got to do is we got to mix the chemicals, okay? This stuff doesn't do anything when the parts are separated, A and B. But once they're mixed, then it's serious glue time. So what you do is you take and you put a little dollop. That's a dollop, which is just a little amount. Put the cap back on, and this is part B. And you use about the same amount, okay? Now these are put back in their plastic bag, sealed and ready to go down into the basement. Okay, now, let me mix them. Okay, now it's a gray, goopy paste. You have quite a bit of time to do this job, actually. You make sure your fingertips are absolutely clean. And then you take a little bit of this stuff, see? You just take a little bit like that, and you put it deep into the hole. And you keep on doing it, down deep in the hole. You have to go deep in the hole, because if you don't, then it'll just kind of sit as a drip at the top. And if that happens, you will not have adhesion through the entire hole. And then I kind of push it to make sure it's okay. All right. Now, clean off your tool, because that's enough of that. So I'm folding over the paper. See that? All right. Now I'm getting rid of the excess just by scraping it on the paper, and I'm coming over here with the paper toweling, and I will remove any extra glue. At this point, it's very easy to work with it. Now, we take this and firmly press it upon it and check that it is absolutely seated 100% onto those shoulders. But we will notice. Okay, now this is interesting. I'm noting right now, let's take a look here, that while it appeared to be seating 100% onto there, it's not actually all the way there. So I'm going to put a little bit more on here. That's why we check things, okay? And we start all over again here. And we have this. And then we'll scrape that on here and do this and this. Now, I'm going to take this off of this. Now, the problem I had was that it was sitting up above the shoulder by a teeny, tiny amount. Not very much. And I don't like the look of that. And so I'm going to come in here with a file. And I'm going to bring this down just about 2/10,000ths of an inch. And I'm going to take a little bit of the corners off, because actually most of the time when it's not seating, it's the corners that are the culprit. Why? Because the shape of the drill bit is not square. Now you see why it was a smart idea to leave it in the wood, huh? Okie dokie, now here we go again. And I'm doing this same thing all over again, straight in. Now it's 100% correct. Okie dokie. Now, remember, we fold this over, and we're going to fold this over here. Now we have an issue. I'm going to get rid of that paper because it has goopy on the outside. You have just a tiny amount of overage here, and the best way to get rid of it is an index card. You just come in, grab it, and pull. Okay? And that's trash. That's why I have 3 of them, see? And then I come over here. Why does it bubble? Well, because some of the goop in the hole got pushed out. Why? Because the nub went in there. Little bit of wipe down here. A little bit of wipe down here. See, I did use 3. How about that? Okay, now we have a button which is fully seated on there. And now and only now can we start taking apart the tape and the wood in preparation for setting it up to dry. But can you imagine what situation I would be in if I had to handle that slide and file it, taking those corners down? If I had to hold onto the slide, there is no way that this slide would have survived that without being bent slightly. But right now it didn't get bent slightly because it's in a split. Okie dokie. Okay, I come around and then all the tape's off. Okay, there, the tape's off. There, that tape. Now I can remove the sticks. Those are cracked off of a ruler, just so you know. Now, what's this? This is electrician's tape. What's it there for? I have to increase the stiction between the slide and the wood. And so that was its purpose here. And you notice that I'm very careful in my removal. And there's a little bit of adhesive. What's the best way to remove adhesive? With adhesive. How about that? Okay, now what do we have? Everything's clean, everything's good. What do we have? We have a perfect button, perfectly applied to the slide. And isn't it a beauty? Okay, now what are we going to do? We got to get it to dry. How are we going to do that? Let's go take a look. Reading books is a good thing, because when you read books, you have books. And I need a book. Why? Because I use the book to hold the slide. I come in here, I slide it in towards the spine of the book, lay this here, and make sure, let me bring the camera here. Okay. Now we're making sure that the alignment on this thing is 100% side to side. Okay, because I mean it can tip just a tiny amount. And then we're coming here, and this is our last time. Now why do I have the headlight on? Why do I have the headlight on? Because that's the light I'm using to decide whether this thing is on here flush or not. And this is my last time now that I can get on here and making sure that the lay of this button is absolutely perfect. And it is, okie dokie. And so, now see, that's metal epoxy, okay? And metal epoxy, that is an extremely strong bonding agent. It can take a whack, a good size hit. Crazy glue can't. Other types of glues dry over time. Metal epoxy, I can get it off of there, but you got to be careful on how you do that. That completes now that job. Now that'll dry for 24 hours. Then the harp can be reconstructed. That's it.